Without further ado, please now join me in welcoming our second keynote speaker to the stage, Major General Sanjay Soy, retired CSM, Defense and Strategic Affairs expert. Get ready for a deep dive into the topic that will leave you curious for more. Quality delivery of services in security sectors and end users' expectations. Major General Sanjay Soy is a director with Binary Global, an accomplished speaker with 36 years of leadership in the armed forces, specializing in public speaking, people management, and strategic planning. He has commanded in intense counterinsurgency operations and contributed to nation-building efforts, serving as CEO of SSDC, honorary CEO of Capt, and chairman of ICI SSM. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much, Radhika. In fact, it's very tough
to talk say just before lunch. So everybody would be expecting me to finish it fast. And we had such wonderful sessions since morning. I mean, whether it is the EHS by Colonel Semwal, moderated by Colonel Semwal, and then security culture and the Homeland security by Dr. Tyagi, and now the CCTV. Amazing knowledge we have got, and all these are related to the security, overall security. And when we talk of the standards, it means a lot, and we got to incorporate probably each one of these facets into our security setup. So I will be talking on quality delivery of services in security sectors and end users' expectations. I would like to thank the ICISSM family for inviting me here and giving me this honor to talk on this subject. And since we have been talking on different kind of facets of security, I would say that we got to align ourselves with end users' expectation. What does the end user want? It can't be okay, whatever we have prepared, we are doing, and so far one is able to do it because probably personal network or because of different reasons. But gradually, over a period of time, unless we understand the bigger dynamics, where the security industry is going and how the things are happening, we cannot remain a player for a long time.
And then only we can
think of growing at global level. Next. Suddenly you say, what is this Op Vijay? सडनली ये लड़ाई का बात कहाँ से आ गया? यहाँ पे तो सिक्योरिटी, इंटरनल सिक्योरिटी, होमलैंड सिक्योरिटी का बात चल रहा है. We spoke of armed forces, although we spoke about training in armed forces. You see, I don't have to describe the operation as such, but on 3rd May, when the news came of that the Pakistan has occupied the heights overlooking the national highway between Srinagar and Leh, and they were in high altitude. They had already occupied the bunkers and positions, and they were shelling very effectively. The Kargil ammunition dump was destroyed. Our gun positions were being shelled. The movement on the national highway became almost impossible, very, very difficult, except for the night. That time they thought, okay, we caught the India by neck. इनको भी गर्दन से पकड़ लिया, अब ये कुछ नहीं कर सकते, because we are sitting on the height. Like in Saichen, they tried their best, they could not do anything, they could not dislodge us. That is where probably the Indian Army came into play. That is where our standards of training came into play. That okay, we have our standards, we have our training, we have our ethos, we have our history, and we got to do it. And that was something like impossible task which was achieved by Indian Army just because we had our standards laid down. It is not that somebody becomes officer and everybody follows the command. He has to prove himself. He has to pass exams every now and then. Most of us are Fauji's here. When you, whether for passing out of the academy, we have to clear number of tests and exams, or when for Part B, Part D, staff college, then different kinds of things are there, panels are discussed. And for each level, there are courses which empowers us. Even for similar things at the lower level, from Sipai to Nayak, Nayak to Havaldar, Havaldar to JCO, everywhere they have to pass the test. So their standards are later. Okay, you have to reach this standard, then only you will be able to achieve the next rank. That is where probably when we talk of the people like my hero, Vikram Batra, next, who said that next, either I'll hoist the tricolor or come back wrapped in it. Because that kind of feeling comes in with those kind of standard training, or when you think of the leadership, they have been trained over a period of time. Next. And of course, we heard this many times when he was told that what do you want, he said Dil Mange More. And my another hero, Manoj Pandey, I always say, next, I always say that if death strikes before I prove my blood, I'll swear I'll kill death. अगर मुझे अपनी शौहरत सिद्ध करने से पहले मौत भी आती है तो मैं मौत को मार दूंगा. I mean, these are the standards, these are the level of training. That is where probably motivation comes in. That is where pride in itself, pride in the organization, pride in the own country, pride in the army, pride in unit, all these things come in. That is where probably we got to think of. Let's talk of, I will be talking on the three facets. What are standards? Very briefly, you all know it. Just rushing over it. Expectations of end users. We did a survey. Captain S.B. Tyagi, the man behind ICSSM, really helped me. He was the one who designed the survey, and we did it last year also as part of the Capt when we were making the standards for BIS. And now we did some fresh survey and got some inputs. And yes, checklist for end users. What should the end users do? At times, the end user is not aware what he can demand, what he must ask. That is also because today is the crowd. When we see the crowd, here we have both service provider and the end users, both are present here. While doing the survey, next. Now, what are the standards? I'll just go over it quickly. It's a very simple thing. Standard is repeatable, harmonized, agreed, documented way of doing things. They're very simple. I mean, it is agreed way, may not be a law, may not be a rule, but at times standards are made to create a brand value. At times these are done at the our own company level. At times it is done for the organization, like in the Capt we did it, or ICISSM we are doing it for the training purpose. Or then it contains technical specification or precise content designed to be used concisely as a rule, guides or definition. And it helps to make life simpler, increase the reliability and effectiveness of many of the goods and services we use, and standard result from collective work by experts in a field and provide a consensus at the time when the standards are developed. So I'll not go into any explanation. You all are quite, this thing is just a sort of a reminder or freshening up the things. We did the survey, which I told you that Captain Tyagi was a great help in that. Now coming on to the results of the survey. When we did the survey, we sent the details, sent the questionnaires to different kind of organizations, or the PSUs, Indian private sector, MNCs and RWA, and it is seen that the maximum response was from MNCs, and PSUs were slightly reluctant in sharing the knowledge and responding to this. Indian private sector, of course, was slightly lesser than that. Next. Again, we touched upon different kind of sectors, whether from the service sector, manufacturing sector, big manufacturing sector, or small manufacturing sector. And these are the results which are available. In fact, when we see the service sector was the largest one, and followed by manufacturing sector. Next. We also touched upon different level of companies, small company, medium-sized company, big companies, and their result, in fact, response was more or less same from each type of company. Next. It shows that we were able to touch large demographic session, different level of companies, different sectors, and different types of industry ranging from big to small. And then we also realized the response of MNCs, corporate sectors were much better and they responded positively to the questionnaire. When we talk of the selection process, how do the corporate sector select a private security agency to provide the services? So there are different things, whether nomination, open, limited tender, or through the DGR, open tender, limited tender, or nomination. Maximum, of course, was mix of all three, because depending on the price or cost of the demand, everybody was thinking like at times if it is below 25,000 then it could be a nomination, or limited tender if it is below 25 lakhs. So that kind of things were there. So that's why maximum response was for the limited mix. This. When we talk of what were the important factors end users gave, what are the facets they thought of while selecting the PSAs? Financial strength, length of experience, manpower deployment capability, global deployment, license holder, preferably pan-India, add-on support, and some security specialization. So of course, licensing was the most sought after. That of course they should be license holder, and they should be able to provide the services pan-India. That was always preferred, because all the big companies, they had branches and they didn't want to deal with the different security companies at each station. And of course, manpower deployment capability was the second one. Yes, they should be able to provide the manpower. Add-on support was, yes, there are different kind of add-on supports which they were looking for, which was 39.7%. Next. So these are some of the additional support which could be provided by the PSAs, which are flashed on the slide. CCTV, we have been talking of ESH and CCTVs, everything. Everybody wants a single vendor, limited number of people to be dealt with. So that's why probably all these services, if somebody can provide, of course, the agency would be preferred. Next. Training expectations. What are the training expectations? Training designed by PSAs, certified of past learning, because we have seen so many guards did not have any certification, but then we have given the past learning certification. Pre-induction and OJT, sector specific and basic training. Again, we see the pre-induction and OJT. Everybody is interested in his own company. My manufacturing company, I've got an MNC office, I've got a hotel or hospital. They need a pre-induction training, and on-the-job training is the most important factor which is thought of by the end users. Mobilization timing, of course. Key attributes of security professionals. When we talk of the security and process knowledge, communication and etiquettes, education level, physical attributes. Of course, security process knowledge was one, and communication etiquettes was second, because you will see the overall percentage, but then there were people who ticked on 2 or 3 qualities which they gave priority. So that's why it has come, it is like that. But of course, top remains the security professional knowledge, and next one is the communication and etiquettes, which in the present time is very, very important. When we in army also, we at times write on the gate, respect all, suspect all. Izzat bhi do aur dhyan bhi rakho. Mobilization time, yes, there are different kind of mobilization where expectations are there by different companies, but the maximum was 1 month time which they gave, 1 month time which they gave, and others were of course 3 months, nothing specific, and requirement based. Requirement based was 8.8%, nothing specific was again 4%, 3 months was 10%, and 1 month was 54.4%. Next, key deliverables. These are some of the questions which probably some of you will be able to connect when either going for the meeting, then you have these things in mind, okay, what they could be expecting from you, or as a PSA, then you know that what all you can expect from, as a end user, you know that what all you can expect or you can demand from the PSAs. Key deliverables, yes, other related tasks, specific functions, managing risk, identifying risk assessment, and security manpower only. So, of course, the specific function is the maximum response which we got, followed by managing risk identified in risk assessment. Frequency of risk assessment, when we talk of how often companies did the risk assessment. 42.6% was ongoing process. Continuous process, they say it is going on. And next was 1 month, once a year, that is 23.5% was once a year. And one was whenever the security breach takes place, that is a 11.8%, that was third. This is a kind of risk assessment, the frequency of risk assessment which is done by the end users. Expectations from PSS in case of breach of security, yes, it is there. Investigate and carry out root cause analysis, register police complaint, make good the losses on the basis of attributability. And what are the evaluation of continual improvement process? Next. Of course, it is a continuous process. I have been talking to some of the Dr. R.K. Tyagi and other PSA owners, that they are carrying out a regular process on the job training, and while the guards are deployed, continual improvement is there, which is definitely appreciated by the end users, and that is where it helps in the, because the world goes round, the reputation builds up. That is where probably it helps in the next level or next allotment of contract. In this summary, next, the outcome was the 76.5% felt formal evaluation of continual improvement. Frequency of risk assessment is ongoing process, that was the maximum. 42% do the risk assessment by the security department. 59% felt that competency identified on each security personnel. 30% engaged PSAs for other tasks also. 67% felt PSAs to take action in case of breach of security, and 78% of maximum felt security as the first responder. Next. The outcome was, another outcome which is a broad outcome we can say, is defining the service offering, implementing the services, understanding the customer perceived security requirements, managing customer relationship, and understanding the wider context of security services. Next. Now some of the checklists for the end user, again in the Capt we had made the public procurement document, and here it is you have to identify as an end user what do you want. You want quality or price. Like we know the RWA focuses on price, but the MNCs focuses on the quality. So it depends, then accordingly you can make a checklist, you can make a format, okay, the weightage given to the each facet, and accordingly you can work on the weightage for the quality versus price. Next. Best value, there are 4 facets you can think of. Guarding personnel, what are the best guarding personnel, you can allot weightage to these. Contract management operations, contract infrastructure, and the company. What kind of company is there? Quickly go over these 4 things. Next, guarding personnel, you can give points for each thing. Experience, skill capabilities, selecting, recruiting and vetting, their own HR setup, basically PSS HR setup, employment condition and specialist skills. Weightage for each of these things, accordingly they can come up on the merit. Next. Contract management operations, basically the management team, how's the management team, on-site contract manager, what is the level of their competency, rostering and support services, what all they are able to provide. Next, contractual infrastructure, what all they have, what kind of equipment they hold, and what kind of technical support they are able to give. Next. And the company, of course, the structure and organization, security, quality, human resource management, references and certification and awards. These are some of the factors which again helps the end user to give weightage to each of these qualities and select between price and quality. Next. So what I told you earlier, it is the price versus quality. You have to think of it as an end user, how to work on these things. Skill and experience of operational and management staff, a detailed description of how services to be organized, compatibility with the objective of the contract, and track record and quality standard of PSAs in relation in objective of the contract. So these are some of the things we just discussed about the what all you have, what is the expectation of end users, and how the end users can think of selecting the best company as per their need. Every end user has a different requirement, different need. Accordingly, they can make a checklist, give weightage to each quality, and do the selection. It need not be L1. That's all. I finish here. Any questions, anything I can take.
Thank you, sir. Let's show our appreciation for sir and his invaluable contribution to today's discussion. I would now like to invite Professor Nimesh Dave onto the stage to facilitate Major General Sanjay Soy. Before we break out for lunch, I would like to invite Dr. Tyagi onto the stage for a special announcement.
Yeah, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Myself, Captain Dharambir Singh Dabas, Regional Head CSS Services Limited. I am pleased to announce that our company CSS Services Limited wants to, honor Major General Sanjay Soy for his outstanding contribution for imparting training to our staff for the last couple of years, and our management is very pleased to give a memento as a token of gratitude to him. For that, I would like to invite Dr. Tyagi to join me in handing over the memento. And with a big round of applause, please let me invite Major General Sanjay Soy, please. Thank you. Sir, please come. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Yeah, thank you, sir. Now, secondly, we would also like to facilitate Captain Professor S.B. Tyagi, who had been associated with CSS Services Limited for last 2 years, and he had been instrumental in imparting quality training, mentoring the CSS staff, and with his guidance, more than 8 senior managers and two senior executives have done CSP and CSM course with his guidance, and we would like to continue with his association. And let me invite Dr. Pankaj Tyagi to join me in facilitating Captain Professor S.B. Tyagi. So please come here, sir. नीचे आओ सर, नीचे आ जाता हूँ सर. అవసరం. Let us show some more energy and give a big round of applause once more, gentlemen. And before proceeding to lunch, thank you very much.
Dear all, we now invite you to have lunch in the canteen area. Please note to be seated here back by 2:30 sharp. Thank you.